My name is Rob Turner, and I'm going out to the movies tonight. I'm seeing a film adaptation of a fictional character I've been a fan of for 6 years now, so walking along this road seems like the end of a long journey. It's time for Iron Man. The Iron Man is a highly advanced suit of armour which is durable, strong, faster than the speed of sound and packs an awesome array of weaponry. But that's just a suit. What about the man? He is Tony Stark, a born genius. He received the finest education at MIT and majored in engineering. He is the son of Howard Stark, a billionaire who made a fortune off military contracts. At the age of 21, he inherited his father's company after his parents died in a car crash and followed in his father's footsteps very successfully.
Yeah, read him since I was a little kid.
I was a huge fan. He was one of my 3 favourite characters when I was growing up.
I've been reading Marvel comics since I was about 13, so I know a little bit about Iron Man.
It was one of those things that was very controversial for the time, you know. I mean, he's a weapons designer. He's not a good man. Like when it starts off, he's arrogant. He's selling weapons to the highest bidder. All this stuff happens, and then bam, he gets put in a very bad situation. He realises what he's doing, and so he tries to make up for it.
He was the arms dealer that, you know, just sold things to whoever.
We met Tony Stark as an adult, pretty much right as his defining moment is happening.
So this is the man he was. What then happened to make him change the direction in his life?
I should be dead already. Unless it was for a reason. I just finally know what I have to do.
That doesn't look like a missile. What are you building, Stark?
I'm working on something big.
Tony Stark went home reforged with a new direction in life and redesigned the suit.
Iron Man, the potential of intelligence if you actually apply yourself.
And have lots of money.
It has the believability aspect.
Far more so than some guy from another planet. He wears a suit. He wears a sort of man-made suit. He has no actual powers. It could be anybody in the suit.
People can see that and say, I could be Iron Man. Everyone knows he's Iron Man, and he doesn't make a big deal to hide that. It's almost an extension of his ego.
He is arrogant. He's full of himself, but he's a futurist. He knows how things are going to be. He can see what is most likely going to be the way that the world will be in 5, 10, 20 years, and tries to deal with it before.
He's fixing things before they break.
That's actually a good point about his character, is that he has the ability to affect great change in the world, and so he considers it his responsibility. I mean, if not him, then who else?
It's a fine line between confidence and arrogance.
It's important for us to be able to identify certain traits in our heroes. Just look at his battle with addiction, alcoholism.
He's a man with a lot of failings. The alcoholism, obviously, like, you know, he's hit rock bottom, but it is that whole thing where it's like, you know, it's not how many times you go down, it's how many times you get back up.
And you can't help necessarily becoming an alcoholic, but you do choose to start drinking at some stage and not stop. And also what's going to happen when he falls. It's not just him. You can go on a bender.
You want him to not fall. It's always going to be there too. Like, you never stop being an addict. Like, there's no such thing as an ex-addict. Like, if he has one more drink, then it's over. That's the great thing. That's why people keep reading, to see, you know, to see if he will fall, and you know that he'll pick himself back up again.
Alcohol is not his only failing. He also gets guilty and extremely depressed. He usually gets this way over the loss of loved ones, which he ultimately blames himself for. Then happened the Marvel Civil War, when a bad call of judgment from some rookie heroes resulted in the deaths of 800 school kids. The government decided enough was enough and something must be done. They made an act where heroes must register, be trained and work under the law. Tony agreed with this and led the act. Captain America Steve Rogers went against it and led an underground group of heroes to fight against it.
It's like someone has to make a stand, and so he decided that the burden would be on his shoulders. You know, it doesn't always make you popular. You know, it means you're going to make some bad decisions, but he decided to put that on himself.
It's a pretty heroic thing to do too. You know, it's kind of what people want leaders and that to do.
Well, he's one of the best people qualified for the job of saving the world from itself, and so it means hard decisions, and it means pissing off a lot of people along the way.
You know, and you've got to be confident to do anything like that.
A lot of fans were calling him a fascist during the Civil War thing because of what he was doing, the attack on civil liberties.
I disagreed with him in the comic, but at the same time, there are certain aspects that you agree with, that there should be culpability for people who have fantastical powers. Whether there be registration, that's a bit different. But I agree with the training and I agree with the responsibility part.
He was doing the right thing for the nation and potentially the world, but at the same time, well, every war has casualties.
This ended with Cap being arrested and later assassinated, which is something Tony Stark will never forgive himself for.
So thanks to Tony Stark, Captain America Steve Rogers was shot dead. You know, and these are all things that spurned out of his decisions, and of course, you know, this is weighed very heavily on him. It had lasting consequences, and it's the type of thing he has to live with for the rest of his life. But he was aware of that going in. He probably feels that the weight of the world is on his shoulders at the moment. All the decisions he's made, it's all resting on him. It is actually the mark of a hero. You have to make the hard choices and commit yourself.
You look at it from the other side, what sort of person would you be if you had the chance to do something that, you know, affected millions of people for the better? You didn't choose to do it just because you might lose a mate.
He's always still trying to do the right thing, which is the point. It's like you may not always be doing the right thing, you may screw up, you may actually be doing the complete wrong thing, but you're trying. You're trying to make the world better, you're trying to do the right thing, and that's really the message behind it all.
So that's a good run through of The Man. What about the movie? Ace. That movie was ace. I don't know what else to say.
Well, Iron Man was quite good, surprisingly, for a superhero movie. Yes, it really kept the comic book tone, combined with great action, a great main character.
Past every expectation I ever had, to be honest. It'll be interesting to see what they're going to do with the sequel.
Fantastic. One of the best superhero movies ever.
I did like the film. It was probably one of the most, if not the most, one of the most accurate Marvel productions in terms of originality and relating back to the comic.
But it felt very organic in the Iron Man film. It's like you're following the hero's journey, and you know it didn't feel very manufactured.
Robert Downey Jr. did an excellent job, but that's because I personally think he is Tony Stark.
Robert Downey was just as expected. He was probably one of the most charismatic actors of this generation.
Great chemistry, which they go to the casting.
The acting was superb. Robert Downey Jr. just nailed it. He is Tony Stark.
You know, it can be really fascinating to watch.
They're almost slipping in there. You're so busy laughing and enjoying the character, wondering what he's going to do next, and just wondering what he's going to say next, what do they do next. But all of a sudden you realise that they're talking about the war and its weapons and everything else, and it's actually quite a serious subject matter.
As a comic fan, as a movie fan, as a follower of this mythos for as long as I have been, I am totally, without question, satisfied.
So yeah, quite an achievement. Rob has reason to be proud of his Iron Man.
At the end of the day, Tony Stark is a man with issues and depth that you can relate to, and the suit itself is a concept fully possible with time. In my opinion, he is the most realistic superhero ever, because when you get to it, he isn't so super, he's only human.